morning, everyone. Today, we are going to explore an interesting and fascinating topic in management, which is how the organizations are structured and how this structure affects the way the work is done. You can think of organization like a living organism. It has many parts and all of them must work together to strive and thrive. By the end of this session, you will be able to understand that why the companies organize themselves in different ways and what are the key factors which influence their structures. So, let us begin our journey into the world of organizational design. Let us understand first of all what the organization actually is. The organization is essentially you can say a collection of people working together to achieve a common goal. They have same objectives, same goals in mind. This could be a business producing goods, a hospital serving the patients, or a charity helping the community. The key idea here is coordination. Why? Because without the coordination, some form of structure, it would be in pure chaos. Imagine everyone doing their own things without any plan. This is exactly where the organizational design come into the play. Organizational design is the formal system that defines tasks, workflows, responsibilities, and authorities. It answers important questions like who reports to whom, how the task will flow, and who makes the key decisions of organization. When done right, it ensures efficiency, clarity, and smooth coordination, helping everyone to work together without any confusion. Now, let me ask you a question. How would you have you ever been the part of a group project where everyone just did their own thing? How chaotic did that feel? This is exactly why the organizations need structures to make everyone work toward the same common goals together. Now, we will be discussing some important, in fact, very important contingency factors in the organizations, because organizations are not one fits to all. The contingency approach in the management tells us that the best way to organize depends upon that specific situation. There are several factors that influence how the organization is structured. The first is strategy. For example, a company focused on innovation will need flexible teams that can experiment and adapt quickly, while the company focused on cost efficiency will likely prefer standardized procedures to ensure the consistency. Then comes the size, the importance of size basically. Large organizations often need formal structures and for the specialized roles, whereas smaller organizations can remain more flexible. Technology is another key factor that plays important role. Like high-tech companies may require cross-functional teams to handle the complex projects, while the traditional manufacturing companies often follow clear hierarchical paths. The environment is another contingency factor that plays a critical role. Organizations operating in a stable condition can rely on structured design, while those in unpredictable or dynamic environments need flexibility. Finally, the culture matters. Organization culture means shared values, beliefs, and behavior which shapes whether the structure can be more formal or informal. So these were some factors that we consider in organization design. Think of these contingency factors like the climate for the plant. You cannot plant cactus in a rainforest or a fern in the desert. Similarly, an organization's structures must suit to the context to thrive. Also, consider this. Can you think of a company you know that failed because it didn't adapt to the structure its structure to the changing circumstances? This is exactly what the contingency theory warns against. It's a reminder that flexibility is not just a luxury, it's a necessity. Now, let us move a bit forward toward traditional organizational designs, which was the agenda for our today's lecture. The traditional organizational design basically refers to the structures that have been used for decades and provide a foundation for understanding the modern organizations. First, we have a simple structure that is kind of a typical structure in small organizations, often like family businesses with a very few levels of management, where the decision making is usually centralized in the hands of owner or the founder. This structure allows for fast decisions and flexibility. But as the organization grows, it will definitely become chaotic because one person cannot manage everything. For example, imagine a local bakery that is ran by a single owner who decides that everything from the recipes to staffing. That's a perfect example of simple structure where one person is managing everything. Next is the functional structure where the peoples are grouped based upon their specializations such as marketing, finance, operations, and human resources. Each department focuses on what it, it is good at, which creates efficiency and allows the employees to develop their expertise in that particular department. At the same time, departments can sometimes become isolated or operate in silos, losing the sight of organizational overall goals. For instance, a manufacturing company may have a separate department for production, for sales, for accounting. Each of the department functions will function individually, but the coordination across the departments may become a bit challenging at this moment. Another common traditional design is divisional structure. Divisional structure basically is a structure which organizes the companies around products, services, or market rather than functions. Each division operates almost in a mini company, which allows for a strong focus on specific markets on products. However, in this structure can lead to duplication of resources across the division and sometimes create competition rather than collaboration. For example, a car manufacturer may have a separate division for sedans, SUVs, and trucks maybe. Each division has its own production, marketing, and sales team, which allows them to specialize, but this can also increase the company cost for very sure. Finally, we have the metric structure, which contributes to the functional and divisional approaches. In this design, employees reports to two managers, one functional and one project or the maybe product manager. This kind of approach encourage collaboration, which makes the organization more flexible, specifically for the complex projects. At the same time, reporting to two managers can also create confusion and requires excellent communication skills. A good example is that IT firm working on multiple client prospects and multiple client projects, while a software engineer reports both to the head of the programming and the project manager. I also want to quote here an example for your better understanding. Imagine that you are the part of a company which is specialized in making the smartphones. If the company is small, the founder may make all the decisions, reflecting a simple structure. But as the company will grow, the separate department may form for the design, marketing, sales, and creating functional structure. When the company expands internationally, it may also create divisions by region, forming a divisional structure. Finally, when working on multiple projects across the regions, a metric structure may emerge. How? This example shows how the structures evolve and how the organizations grow and face new challenges. That was all for our today's lecture. We discussed different organizational structures, and we will be back in our second part. Till then, take a short break, and we will be back in our second part of our, our lecture regarding organization design. Till then, thank you so much. Allah Hafiz.